Sisters who watch. Sisters who watch. Sisters who watch.
Madam Web.
Hey y'all, hey. Hello everyone. Welcome to Sisters Who Watch.
I'm Shelby.
And I'm Laura, and we're sisters who watch everything. TV, movies, sports, concerts, and even corny superhero movies. We love to watch, and we love talking about it even more. Today we're watching
Madam Web. Sony's newest Marvel movie.
And before we get into it, everyone, we're very excited for our episode today. Make sure that you're following Sisters Who Watch on all social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, LinkedIn, we're everywhere. And make sure you're following and subscribing to our YouTube page, as well as Spotify and Apple Podcasts, so you get updates when we release new episodes. That would mean a lot. Give us a 5-star review as well. Okay, Shelby. Yes. Oh my
Big
goodness.
News.
We have a special guest today.
Our cousin, Mitch Broadwater, is here.
Welcome.
So exciting. Welcome, Mitch.
Hi, thank you guys so much for having me. It's great to be here.
So excited to have you. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Let the people know who you are, where they can find you.
Of course. So recent LA transplant from New York. You can find me on Instagram as Really That Mitch. And yes. I am your classic fantasy anime BFF. That's where I live. It's what I love. But I'm also currently blessed to be on the Sony film marketing team. So I actually helped a bit with the campaign for Madam Web.
Ooh, look at this. We have an insider, people.
Hey.
Amazing. And someone that loves, like you said, superhero Marvel. So we're going to get like a fan perspective too. We need that, a super fan perspective. Because Laura and I, this might not be our strong suit. So it's good to have you here, Mitch.
Oh yeah, I live and breathe superheroes.
Perfect. As always, we're going to start the episode with the log line of the title we're discussing. So okay, everybody, here's the log line from Madam Web. Cassandra Webb is a New York metropolis paramedic who begins to demonstrate signs of clairvoyance. Forced to challenge revelations about her past, she needs to safeguard 3 young women from a deadly adversary who wants them destroyed. A lot happening in that logline, and we're going to dive into it all.
Yes.
But this is another female-led superhero film, which is exciting, right? You know, it's has a great, buzzy, young female cast led by Dakota Johnson, as well as everyone's it girl, Sydney Sweeney, Isabella Merced, and Celeste O'Connor. It's also directed by a woman, which we love to see, directed by S.J. Clarkson, who's known for directing a lot of TV shows. And it is the 4th film in Sony's Spider-Man universe. Watching it, I don't know how it's connected to Spider-Man, but it is in the Spider-Man universe.
Yes. Can you give us some of your background expectations regards to this movie? Like, what did you know about Madam Web coming in before seeing it?
And so the only thing I knew going in was that she wasn't a sort of super mainline Spider-Man character, but that she was from his universe. And that this was an origin story, that it was going to be telling, like, how she became Madam Web, how she came into the Spider-Verse, as it were. So yeah, I think it kind of answers those questions by the end of the movie.
Yeah, kind of.
So. Yeah, that's helpful though, because I wonder how many super fans there were. Like, did people really know about the comic or know about the character? Like, I wonder if that hurt the movie in the end, the fact that this was a bit obscure of a character.
I think that Spider-Man has its like deep fans. You know, there's so many people who really love the franchise, and we'll get into the nitty-gritty. I do think, and I saw a lot of this commentary on the nerd pages beforehand, that it was just this continuing theme of Sony making Spider-Man movies without Spider-Man in them, which is a strong choice.
Yeah, I think that's why I was confused because, right, it's called Madam Web. It's related to spiders just in general. And I heard it's in the Spider-Man universe. So coming in, I was like, oh, this is a Spider-Man movie. But then after watching it, you're like, where was Spider-Man? Like, it's not clear,
I mean,
right?
technically, we knew where Spider-Man was that whole movie. In Emma Johnson's belly.
What?
Oh, wait, was that a spoiler? Ooh, sorry,
Wait,
folks.
Mitch. Wait, that was Uncle Ben?
Yeah.
Adam Scott played Uncle Ben?
That he's going to be an uncle. He doesn't think it's going to be any
Ah.
responsibility. They really tried to hammer
Oh
this.
my gosh. Clearly we are clueless.
Over our heads.
Okay, so when Emma Johnson walks up and she's like, "Ooh, this baby always leaping around in there," that's because that baby's Spider-Man.
Oh my gosh.
I
You
think it's because
know,
they even cut out in the part where they're saying the name of the baby at the baby shower, right? Where they're supposed to say the
yeah.
name. So you really, if you could miss this point if you weren't honed in on it.
News to
Already
me.
dropping bombs. Yeah,
It's
I had
great.
no idea.
Now, you know, if you're looking for Spider-Man in Madam Web, he is in being born towards the end of the film.
That's
Wow.
crazy because I recognized the name Ben Parker and I was like, like, why do I know that name? And now I'm like, oh yeah, Peter Parker's uncle. Dang, that's crazy.
Wow. You're already blowing our minds. I totally missed that. Totally missed that. Thank God you're on this episode.
I'm
Yeah,
here. I'm your nerdy BFF. This is what I live for.
we could not review this on our own.
Coming into this movie, my expectations were not super high. I will say there's been a lot of, the reviews haven't been great. But as someone who worked on the marketing team, I'm curious, like, what can you tell us about some of this drama?
So what I'll say is, one, Dakota is a pretty consummate professional. You know, she does the work. Like doing SNL, it's a big get for in a marketing POV, right? That really gets, you out and you want someone who can be dynamic. I think she did a brilliant job, right? I think she was really charming and really funny. And truthfully, even as I go back and I watch some of her interview pieces from the various publicity junkets and moments that we had for her to speak about the film, a lot of those are going viral now. Like, people are really loving and getting into it. Well, I think she raised some eyebrows when she fired her agents after being assigned to this title. I think that the way she's positioned herself and the way that she's acted in general towards the film has been kind of like a take notes lesson, right? Like, I feel like she's been very respectful to all parties involved and defended her own image. I feel like you'll still find Dakota Johnson fans after this film, or people who, if they were fans going in, walk away with like, oh, when she did that line, when she looked at those girls, right? Like, moments they deeply enjoyed just because she was there working.
No, that's really good insight. In the movie, like, she had to carry that thing the whole time, right? Like, she had a lot to do. So I can see the fact that, she's a professional, she did her job, she's going to market it to make sure people see it.
And looked great at the premiere. Has to be said. At the Brazil premiere, at the one we were at in LA, she's gorgeous.
Yes. And as you just mentioned, Shelby and Mitch went to the Madam Web premiere in LA. Tell us about that. How was that experience seeing the movie with all the celebs there? Let the people know.
These moments are so much fun, right? It's so cool seeing, the celebs and influencers pop out in LA and what everyone's wearing, right? It's always such a moment. It was also cool seeing, how the cast really reacted. Sydney Sweeney and Adam Scott really took the time to walk around and say hi to all the fans that came out to see them. It was also just cool seeing, a theater that had that much support. As every actor came out on screen, you could hear their kind of cohort go up for them. Yeah, it's glitzy, very LA night.
100% agree. Love seeing the celebs and their fashion. And I do think what's fun about a premiere is everyone's so excited and happy. It's just great energy. There's something about being in that theater, seeing the movie for the first time with fans or people that worked on the movie and they're happy to be there. just like good vibes and energy. It's like one of the best ways to see a movie, I think.
Totally.
Yeah, I'm jealous. I saw it at the AMC on a matinee, so it was not that experience.
It's not the same.
But not the same. No Garcelle Bouvet sightings, unfortunately.
Yes. I saw her as we were leaving.
Very nice. We're going to get you into one of these, Laura. Don't you worry.
Please. I'm ready. I am ready. I can't. Okay, we got to get into the movie, y'all. Mitchell's already dropping just bombs on us already.
Ooh.
So some of the main themes of Madame Web was, knowing your roots, right? Like Dakota Johnson is struggling with her identity and like learning about her mom and all of that, and using your gifts and your talents, right? She's trying to cultivate these skills and these visions that she got from, her mom and this spider community in Peru. Like lots of questions. And of course, also finding your community, chosen family. Was there a theme that really jumped out at y'all from watching the movie?
You should know how to save someone from cardiac arrest. That's knowledge we all should have. And if you get tired, someone needs to take over for you.
That is a really good one.
Yeah.
It was full circle. I remember when she was teaching them how to do that in the hotel room. I was like, why is she doing that? And they're like, oh, I know why. Because they have to save her at the end.
Yes.
She does it a lot throughout the film. It's her signature.
Yes.
She's such a good first responder,
I think that's what you should really leave with. Those are the real heroes. And that's what we all need to take away.
Yes, exactly.
Gotta sign up for my CPR training. I gotta get on that.
Dakota Johnson's inspiring us, to be first responders, honestly.
Ooh.
The way she was driving those ambulances, it was
like Fast and the Furious. I was like, what are you doing? She was crushing it.
So that part, should we steal cars? Like, is stealing cars still that easy? I paid for mine, and I feel silly. Not advocating for it, but she, in this movie, steals at least two, feels like rare cars, too. She steals a taxi and an ambulance.
Yeah, and stealing ambulances feels really unethical. It's like, okay, yes, you are a first responder, but you are not on the clock. What if they need to put someone in the ambulance?
Yeah, that...
Yikes.
Plot hole, I guess.
Questionable ethics from a hero.
Yes. So one of my favorite moments for sure is just Dakota Johnson in the ambulance, just Fast and the Furious in the New York City streets. I did enjoy that. What other favorite moments did y'all have?
So one of my favorite moments is when Cassie finally kind of believes her visions. Because right when she first starts getting them, she's kind of annoyed. She's like, what's happening? But when she's on the Metro North train, shout out to Metro North, Westchester County, I was like, I know that train. That was
I was like, the Harlem line. I know that.
When Cassie is on the train and has to protect the girls, I thought that was good because you're finally seeing her embrace her power. And it brings, the story together. It brings all the girls together. One of the themes I resonated with was like the chosen family and finding community. And that's like the beginning of Cassie finding community and like a family with Sydney Sweeney and Isabella Merced and Celeste O'Connor's characters.
My favorite moment is just because it's made me laugh so much in retrospect, and this is a nice little transition in Mike Epps' character's scenes, because it's just so funny. So he plays the chief of police, who's the chief of paramedics in this version, and some backstory actually for you guys. So one of the things that Madame Web kind of does is it takes these themes and moments and lines from the Spider-Man universe and applies them to this film. So something that you actually might recognize from the last Spider-Verse film is a theme in Spider-Man is that a police captain close to Spider-Man dies as a moment of Spider-Man kind of recognizing his power and his responsibility. And so Mike Epps kind of fills this role in the Madam Web universe. He's her
Wow.
chief of police. And spoilers, sorry, he, very quickly dies in this big car impact. But why I say this is one of my favorite scenes is because we have seen Mike Epps before this maybe one time. They gave the man a line. And then
Short-lived.
what's just crazy about this scene, guys, I'm sorry, it really takes me out, but it really makes me enjoy the film, is that they are at this condemned fireworks building, because New York is notorious for its condemned fireworks warehouses. Any of you guys who live there know. And they're trying to pull people out of the building. He runs up to Cassie and he says, I need you on triage. I need everyone, all hands on deck. We've actually been pulled from a baby shower so that everyone could be here. And then right here, in the heat of all this chaos, at the condemned fireworks building that we have all run to, Mike Epps says, all right, y'all, I'm going to take off. And gets in the car that leads to his demise.
Crazy.
It was very inevitable. Some things you can't walk away from.
That is such a good point about the fact that he's her like chief and like the chief has to die. Mitchell, you came on here and you're dropping gems.
Wow.
You're making me look at this movie differently. I clearly watched it and missed
everything.
A lot. Laura, did you have a favorite moment?
We all lived in New York for a good, period of time. So I just loved seeing the New York scenery. That was super fun. Grand Central Station, very nostalgic for us. And I also really liked all the 2000s references. Like, I love the 2000s so much. And I loved, like, seeing the Beyonce poster in New York, Dangerously in Love. That was amazing. And the Britney song. So I like the 2000s fashion and just the trends. Like, I loved that about the movie.
Yes.
It was really fun. The toxic scene in particular was so fun.
Yes. So going into least favorite moments, Mitch mentioned the captain dying. I was just like, I can't believe O'Neill died after being in the movie for like 5 minutes, right? We barely saw him. And I was like, not the black man. I was like, they show the black man for 5 minutes and he has to die. I was like, what's going on?
Not what you want, not what you love to see. It is funny when you go on Mike Epps' Instagram. He has like one post from Madam Web and his caption's just, yep, I'm in it, y'all.
That's all he can say.
It's funny because he's a comedian, right? So on one hand, I'm just like, I'm glad this black man got his check. I don't see this damaging his reputation at all.
No, it was a good role, good part. Short-lived, but he made an impact.
No small parts.
Correct. And Sims, the guy who was the villain, he was not a fun villain. He was just like, I must murder these teenage girls at all costs. And it was a lot. And when he killed Cassie's mom in the beginning, in the opening scene, I was like, you killed a pregnant woman? What?
For a spider?
I was thinking about this. It's like, what villain in recent memory do you remember who was like, not only will I kill a woman and a bunch of like people behind their back, I'll kill a pregnant woman. And the next thing you know, I'm going to start hunting down some teenage girls. Oh, for sure. I'll kill the hell out of, like, that's deeply villainous to me.
Really bad.
Evil.
I think for me, maybe he lacked a motive. Or like maybe I was trying to figure out, okay, so you really want the spider to have these powers, but why do you want the powers? Like, normally the villain wants the powers because like they're sick or they're trying to help someone they love too, or they want to control something. But it was unclear why he was so hell-bent on getting the spider. If he had had more of like a motive or backstory, maybe he would have been easier to root for.
Yeah, I totally agree. I didn't understand why he wanted the spider in the first place.
The thing is, and so this is funny actually, because I had a friend who before going in had been like, now Mitchell, what you need to get on if you really want to work out and look amazing, you need to get on peptides. Peptides are it. Peptides are what they recommend. And so within the first 3 minutes, they were talking about the super peptides found in these spiders in the Amazon. He gave me a look like, now what did I say? Madam Web saw this coming. But I think that they were supposed to make you super strong, obviously super powerful, like the people in, and obviously they gave them all these kind of physical abilities, but also to live longer, right? I think you're supposed to, just be an all around cure all that really helped invigorate the body. And I think that maybe in like the filmmakers' heads, that's why they did not age his face as much when they took him through time. Even when he's dreaming of the future, they added a creative gray streak to his hair. But the actor looked the way he did.
That's something I didn't notice either. The fact that they barely changed like his makeup so he didn't age that much. That makes sense. So maybe if I had noticed more during the movie, I wouldn't have as many questions now.
Yeah, maybe if you paid attention.
I don't know. They never explained, for example, why he goes from a guy who's, not wearing any shoes, which is a reference to his character in the comic, to a guy who's in a full suit with footsies. It's fine. You could give a quick comic explanation, but it's just a scene that's left unanswered, right? And he's in the suit for most of the movie.
And it was kind of like a Spidey suit, and so it was a little confusing because he's not Spider-Man. He's a Spidey villain.
Yes, also not given a really resounding name. Ezekiel Sims is his actual name, but Evil Spider or something might have been a little catchier.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
That was a missed opportunity. He needed a villain name.
100%. And something else I had questions about, I feel like the beginning was a little disorienting with like the spider people everywhere and like saving the mom. Like what did y'all think of these spider people in Peru? The Iran, I forgot the
Las
Arañas. It means the spiders in Spanish.
Yes. Well, what's interesting, as someone who hates spiders, I was a little triggered watching it. And then I kid you not, the next day I saw a spider in my bedroom. I was like, this is too much. Madam Web is following me home.
The Arañas.
But to be serious, kind of reminded me of Black Panther Wakanda Forever, how they were trying to have like a more like indigenous like superhero or like story arc. Like, do you remember like the Mayan focused like villain? Like it made me think of that a little bit, but not as well executed.
I think two issues with Las Arañas. And first, it's purely a visual thing. Their look was clearly, it's like someone had taken the spider suit and gone backwards. And you end up with this sort of shredded rope look that it felt like no native person would ever have worn. Covering both too much and not enough. And also not quite a spider suit. Giving a bit of a web, I guess. It wasn't for me. What I'm looking for in these superhero movies, who's wearing this on Halloween? You walked out of Black Panther Wakanda Forever knowing every hot Latino guy you knew had a look. Set. Boom. Done. Wings on the feet.
Yes.
Right?
I know.
I don't think you're going to see even a group of guys going as Las Arañas from Madam Web.
No. Las Arañas costumes are not flying off the shelves. No. No.
Secondly, it's just that, the whole way they are positioned, and this little bit in the film where Cassie actually goes back to Peru, her origin trip, to find her answers. And they are, of course, conveniently waiting for her with a nice little plot device to give you a visual aid, darling, because why not? It just a bit gives the magical person of color appearing to help solve your problems. We were there for your mother, and we're here for you too. And once we do that, we'll go back to living our lives. I mean, I guess unaffected, right? Like, they didn't really have too much of a stake in it. But having solved her problems, been there for her. Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing. Hollywood loves to do this trope. It's like, the white protagonist goes to, some South American or indigenous, different country. and goes to a problem, and then they magically just fix it, and they're like, wow, thank you so much, and then there's nothing to do with this culture ever again. They're just here, right, as a plot device to help the white savior fix their problem. So Dakota Johnson's just using these Peruvian people for her own gain to help her figure out who she is, and then she's going to use her magical powers to like save the girls. It just felt, yeah, like they were literally just being used for her.
It wasn't like she was so bad to them, but they only existed to help her. Like that's
Right.
they had no, they aren't doing anything in the background. They ceased to exist.
I also was trying to figure out how Cassie was able to go to Peru. Like, weren't they searching for her? Like, wasn't she wanted by the police?
She was on like a watch list.
Remember,
Plot hole.
Oh, and this was 2003. Like, you can't even be like, this was like 2000, right?
Yeah, like they would have like
9/11, yeah,
more security and NSA stuff.
Well,
I guess not.
Well, we'll never know.
I think that a theme we're not talking about is that Cassie is a foster system kid. Clearly picked up some skills along the way for stealing cabs and faking her identity, getting out of the country.
She did it way too easily.
Places in the woods to stash a couple teenagers. Like, do you have one of those?
Nope.
No.
Would have no idea.
Cassandra Webb does.
You're right. She is very resourceful.
Yeah, knows how to steal any car in New York City.
Hard to do.
Any car. What did you think of her visions? And especially when she like drowned and stuff? Like those scenes, I thought they were a little confusing and disorienting. So I guess when she drowned, that's when she got her powers? Is that what happened?
It's a pretty common trope in superhero movies. If you have like this moment where your life almost ends, that triggers your powers, right? Your innate abilities come out. And so I think that's what that was. This was the triggering event for her.
That makes sense. Again, glad you're here, providing this context for us.
And something else that I didn't like, this is my last least favorite moment. I felt like the black girl in the movie, I thought she was like really harsh and mean. And
Maddie.
I was like, why are they making her so annoying? I don't know.
She was unlikable.
Right?
If you looked at this movie just for Madame Web, right? Like I said earlier, I think it does kind of tell you the origin story of Madame Web, especially with what happens in the last 15 minutes. It's like, oh, wow, okay, we really are understanding a lot of how she came to be. But if you're looking for origin stories or real depth on any of the other characters, that might be safe for Madame Web too. It's not the girl's origin story. How any of them get their powers is not explained. How they become heroes, why we care about them. They get one scene, and truthfully, everyone's a little weak.
Oh.
You know, yeah, I agree that they made Celeste's character a little difficult to be like enjoy. Right, a rich girl is also really abrasive. That's hard to get behind. And then not a great backstory. It's nothing against, of course, people who are, you know, displaced or immigrants. That's fine. But when you only get kind of one line, it feels more like a shoe-torned in backstory than a fully fleshed out one that's addressing kind of what's going on there. Yeah.
I totally agree. I think that the trio of girls was so underutilized, and right, it's about Madame Web, so I guess it wasn't a point to get to know the three girls, but they were such a huge part of the movie, and it felt like we knew literally nothing about them. Like Maddie was just like, "Oh yeah, my parents are probably never going to come back from Beijing," and I was like, "Wait, what do you mean your parents are never going to come back from China?" That just didn't make any sense to me. I was like, "Wait, they're not coming back?" And then Anya was like, yeah, like my dad just got deported. I was like, the stereotyping is just absolutely wild. I was like, that's all we know about her and her family. Her dad got deported. And then the other girl, Sydney Sweeney's character, was like, yeah, like I ran away from home and they're not going to come find me. And I was just like, it just felt like there was no development. And it was
kind of funny. We had to think back. So like, remember when we first meet, when Sydney Sweeney and Dakota Johnson first meet in the hospital, right? Dakota Johnson has just saved Sydney Sweeney's stepmother, who we never properly see, from some near fatal incident. And the rest of the family is about to go in and check on her because she has been saved. And the dad's like, actually, Julia, maybe you shouldn't come.
That was big yikes.
If that's not the most clear demonstration of a dire relationship between mother and stepmother and daughter, I don't know what is.
That's
Yeah,
true.
that's so true.
I guess Sydney's character Julia, out of everyone, maybe had the most backstory. Not that much, but that did give a sense like, oh, they don't want her in the hospital room?
I mean,
Yikes.
I just got hit by a car. Oh no, she's the last person I want to see.
Get her out of here.
That's crazy.
I can see her when I'm recovered. Please.
Yeah.
Yikes. Yikes. Okay, should we go to our categories?
Let's do it.
Good.
All right. Okay, so Mitch and Shelby, who or what from Madam Web did you love to hate?
This is going to sound terrible because I'm blanking on both the actress's name and the character's name, but she played the henchman to Ezekiel.
Oh.
Who had all of the info from the NSA and was just sort of there for it. Like many bits in this movie, I think she, as an actress, was great and was delivering, but was just really trying to work with what they were giving her.
Yeah, she did not have much to do, and I wanted to know why she worked for Sims. This guy's awful. And it honestly felt like at any second he would kill her if she didn't do a good job. Like, it seemed like an awful job.
I just looked up her name. Amaria was her name in the movie. And, like, why was she there? Why were you working for him? He clearly was horrible. You're helping him hunt down and kill 3 teenage girls. Like, get out of here. Find a new job. What's going on?
Escape.
Right. She has a quick moment where she's like, ooh, I didn't realize we'd be hunting teenagers. And then I guess she does the moral equivalent of kind of a, you're not teenagers. And really, she's kind of
like,
like,
oh.
A fortune, you say? I mean, so love her.
So
love
crazy.
to hate.
Yeah.
She a gem. Would have done what I would have done in her shoes.
That's a good one.
Good pick. I definitely have Cassie, aka Madam Web here. I think she was a good main character. You know, she of course had her flaws, but it was also kind of, in the beginning it was hard to root for her, but she had a really great arc, right? Like, she didn't like kids, she was kind of a loner, didn't want that little drawing from Sydney Sweeney's stepbrother in the movie at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then in the end, she is the mom to these 3 teenage girls, and she's like taking care of them and fighting off everything and everyone for these girls. So she had a great character arc.
She did. Like, by the end, right, she like sacrifices herself for them. My love to hate, I have the trio of girls. We already talked about them a little bit, so I won't go much deeper, but they were a little one-dimensional, and they were kind of bratty. Like, oh, let's not wait in the woods, even though Cassie told us to. Let's go to the diner. And like, they just seemed to like not get it until the very end, but they were complaining a lot. And I'm like, I guess that's what a lot of teenage girls are like, but hard to root for them.
So I will say this to both of your love to hates. With Cassie, I just have to also give it to Dakota for some of the line reads in this film. Like, I turned to Shelby 3 times that night and said, "You're not going room temp on my watch." That's just a great line from the film. They don't quite give you the, he was studying spiders with my mother in the Amazon right before she died, but there's a bunch of other really good little deliveries by her in this film that are really enjoyable. And then to the girls, I agree with Shelby. It feels like for plot and character reasons, they were unenjoyable, but I still have to give it to the actresses. Like, Sydney Sweeney is still your it girl. I don't know what prep school she was attending in New York, but it was a high fashion one with great shirts, great skirts. Love to live it. Same for Isabella Merced, who played Anya Corazon. I thought she looked hot. I thought she looked great.
Yeah.
She's actually going to be Hawk Girl, I believe, in the new DC's
Ooh,
Superman.
Ooh.
good for
So
her.
she's one to watch. She's also, I think, in the new Aliens movie coming out later this year. So again,
Mm,
this is like a cast with people who I feel like we're all going to see again. I kind
yes.
of wouldn't mind seeing again out of these characters. Same for Celeste. She's in the new Ghostbusters movie coming out, Ghostbusters
Oh,
Frozen
Ooh.
Empire, later this spring.
Oh,
wow. Up and coming cast. We love to
yes.
see it.
I do think casting, they did a great job getting like those young up and coming stars.
And for hate to hate, we talked about Ezekiel Sims. He was kind of the worst. No redeeming qualities from him at all. He was not a fun villain. He was just evil. There were a lot of plot holes, as we talked about. The backstories were a little confusing. And there were some flash forwards and timelines that I didn't fully understand. Yeah. Is there anything else people want to add to hate to hate?
Okay, so all right, this is if you're a fan of superhero movies, there's one moment you're always looking for. It's the moment where all hope is lost, where for whatever reason all of the forces and the odds are stacked against you, and we're about to lose everyone and everything, and somehow, miraculously, you overcome the odds and save the day. And so in Madam Web, this happens. We are standing atop a collapsing Pepsi sign. Atop, you guessed it, a abandoned firework warehouse in
Of
New York
course.
City, which is going off. Yes, never sleep on a fireworks warehouse in the first act, folks. Uh, but there's a moment where the three girls are slipping, and Anya is about to fall off of a beam. Celeste is about to fall off of a beam. Sydney is about to fall off of a beam, and Dakota, Madam Web, is standing there too far to reach any of them. And it has been sort of dropped earlier when we went down to Peru that once you master the ability to see the future, you also gain the ability to be in multiple places at the same time.
Mm.
Yes.
This is not explained at all. As far as I know, this is not one of Madam Web's abilities from the comics. It is
Oh,
also
wow.
clearly said
Ooh.
she does not inherit the physical abilities in the movie. So it's not like she just supercharged and suddenly was. But the worst part of this, I have to say, though it was a gratuitous deus ex machina thrown into the third act just to fit the superhero format, was that while Sydney Sweeney gets pulled back up onto her beam, and Anya Corazon gets a hand reached down, Celeste, who is kind of like in a Y, Dakota jets on over and is just like, you know what? You're gonna be okay. It's just she uses that ability for moral support. That was a hard scene for me, I have to say.
I agree. That scene was a little forced.
Yeah, and the graphics were absolutely wild. Like she's jets off into three different beings. I was like, what is happening? It was just very confusing and disorienting. I feel like something about Dakota Johnson isn't like super believable as a superhero for me. Like when
Completely
I
agree.
see her, like I don't think, oh my gosh, like action star, superhero. And that's why I was like, oh, she's Madam Web. Just immediately, I just wasn't sure how she was gonna do as the lead. And her character wasn't super athletic, right? So I think they could have played more, right? I love the idea of her predicting where he's gonna like kick or punch. Like that's interesting, and she can avoid that. They could have ended the final fight scene a bit better instead of the three versions of her going to save the girls. I did not love that. So for Love to Love, we talked about Mike Epps' character. We thought he was great, super funny, made a big impact. No small parts, no small parts.
That's right.
And the early 2000s nostalgia, we also loved that. What else did y'all love about the movie?
I also liked Adam Scott's character, Ben Parker. So when I got to the premiere, I thought I saw him. And I was like, why is Adam Scott here? And then I see the movie and I'm like, oh my gosh, he's in the movie. I had no idea. I was so excited. And I thought he did a good job. He was kind of like the consistent presence. And now that I get that he's, Uncle Ben, it makes a lot more sense to me why he was like there for Cassie, like shoulder to cry on, giving advice. He was needed for the plot, but also like a good character to kind of like be there for Cassie as she's trying to figure everything out.
Another thing I really loved, just another little scene, and this I will give kudos to Emma Roberts. One of the funniest scenes in the movie is at the baby shower, where there's this little interaction between her and Dakota Johnson, where they ask her, oh, Dakota, surely you have at least, one happy memory of your mother. And Dakota looks at the very pregnant Emma Roberts and says, well, no, my mother died in childbirth, like pointing at her pregnant belly. Oh, that got a deep belly laugh from me. First, second, I think it will every time. That was great.
That was a great moment.
Theater was laughing a lot. I remember that. That was a good joke. It was good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dakota was wild for that. That was really funny.
If that's you at the baby shower, tag yourself. That's...
Let us know. Sound off.
Yes. Okay, so it's time for red flag, green flag, 1, 2, 3. So Mitch, we're gonna ask you some spicy questions, and you have to give us your hot takes. What you think? Okay.
I'm ready.
Okay, so first, is it a red flag to study spiders?
Oh, total red flag. Total red flag. Yeah, if that's where you're starting with your career, I don't need to know your personal interests. Yep.
Oh, I love that.
Point blank.
Follow-up question. Is it a red flag, like, the way that her mom flew to Peru when she was, like, 9 months pregnant to, like, study spiders? Also, just within that context. Like, yes, she was going to, try and find a cure for her daughter. So, like, I'm curious what your thoughts on that is. Was her mom correct for doing that?
On the one hand, I think it's, like, a bit irresponsible. But on the other hand, it's kind of a what do you have to lose situation, right? If you fail, then you're going to lose what you care about the most.
Mm-hmm.
And if you succeed, you have it all to win. And leaving it to someone else, there might not even be the time, right? Every minute could be precious. So when those are the odds, I guess I would do the same thing.
She was in a tough situation, and she's a mom. Moms will do anything, right? Mama bears to protect their kids. So she was willing to, like, risk her life. Would I, want to study spiders for that? Probably not, but I respect it. I respect Cassie's mom for the sacrifice.
Yeah.
Is it a green flag to protect random strangers?
I'm gonna say yes. I think that shows, real good instincts. I always worry if something would happen, I would be like, ooh, and freeze up for too long to be useful. So the fact that you've saved someone off the bat, it's like, okay, you moved when it was go time. That's definitely a plus.
So if there's a little skirmish in the subway, would you step in? Would you do something?
So I feel like I have in the past separated drunk people when I feel like things are getting too heated. I'm kind of a big guy, so sometimes you look and you make a judgment, and especially when there are women involved, I sometimes like to intercede, which is not always the best, especially in New York. You quickly get pulled into other people's drama. But move and you think you keep things apart. Sometimes people are just looking for a reason to break off tension.
Good for you, Mitch. I typically would not. We need more people like you. Just stepping in, saving the day.
Yeah, you're better than me. If there is some confrontation, I'm running the opposite direction. I'm like
getting away. Yep.
I'm
do not want to be involved.
It is a green flag, to protect random people, but like, not for me.
Yeah, I don't run towards violence. That's not.
Okay, overall parting thoughts, Madam Web. Is it a wait or a watch?
I
literally.
say watch this movie because I feel like it's been so in the culture. There's been so much build up. People have been waiting to see, will it be good? Will it be terrible? Now all of
Mm-hmm.
the reviews are out. There's a million opinions. I think this is zeitgeisty. I think this is one of the big movies of 2024, and that you should watch it now while it's hot and people are talking about it. I have been laughing myself hoarse watching the reaction videos on TikTok. So if that's me and I'm invested, like I can't imagine. Even if you go and you absolutely don't like this film, I think you'll have a great time talking with the people who you saw it with after the fact. I think you'll laugh all the way home.
You have really completely changed my perception of this movie. Like, honestly, like leaving it, I was like, what did I just watch? But you have, opened my eyes to all the nuggets that I missed. Like, the fact that Uncle Ben was Adam Scott, like, I genuinely had no idea. And that I was like, why do we care so much about Emma Roberts and this baby? And I was like, wait, like, because that's Spider-Man. That's Peter Parker. I did not know that at all. So, and it's like we watch Marvel movies, like we know Spider-Man. So I'm like, how did I not even
Oh
pick
my
that up?
gosh.
I was very entertained by the movie. I I was not bored at all. Like it flew by. It was well paced. And yeah, like you said, zeitgeisty. Perfect word. Everyone's talking about it. There's a lot of, mystery around it. So, if you're a Marvel fan and you want to see, a cute, fun movie, like it was cute. I enjoyed it. Women led. Go watch it. Go support a woman director. Go see it.
Yeah, I initially thought this might be a wait, but as we've discussed it, and I've realized I missed so much from the film, I think it is a watch. After seeing it at the premiere, I was like, wow, that was not as bad as I thought it would be. It's getting a lot of bad press and there's all this talk, but especially talking with you, Mitch, and realizing there's a lot of like things I missed. There's like more happening in the movie than I thought there was.
I'm glad you guys took it from it. We'll see if it's enough to make you guys see it a second time. God knows. That's a second question.
We'll
Let's
not
see.
commit to that yet, but we'll keep you guys guessing.
Mitch, on to our What to Watch segment. What are things that you're watching these days, you're enjoying, or content that you're looking forward to this year?
Okay, all right. Well, let's see. Right now, I gotta say, all my eyes are focused. I'm really excited for the new Avatar: The Lost Airbender coming out on Netflix. No surprise
Oh.
there. That's going to be one of the big moments for the year, and so I'm really excited for it. I will be going right now at AMC. They're showing the Oscar-nominated animated shorts, so I'll be stopping by to
Ooh,
see that. Feels like a fun cinematic way to see that, and because I really love all things animation.
that's
Oh,
awesome.
yeah, for other anime fans, I also hear there's a new Demon Slayer movie coming to theaters soon. I hear it's the first couple episodes of the new season, so always love a chance to see that in the big screen.
If I ever need questions or thoughts or recs for anime, I know who to go to because
I'll give you the full bevy. You have a beautiful library to pick from.
amazing.
So yeah,
Yeah.
what are you tuning into? What's coming up for you?
Well, I think it's peak reality TV right now. We have The Bachelor, we have Love Is Blind, we have The Traitors, we have Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Check.
Just yeah, check. So yeah, I'm really enjoying all this reality TV, not gonna lie. But in terms of, content related to this film, I did see the new Sydney Sweeney rom-com, Anyone But You. So if people are looking for a rom-com, still want to celebrate Valentine's Day weeks later, go see it.
I heard it was fun. I haven't seen it.
It's I thought it was a really just kind of cute rom-com ensemble film.
Yes, good cast.
Okay.
Oh, everyone in that movie is beautiful.
Stunning.
Yes.
And it's set in Australia. So if you literally just want to see beautiful people
Wow.
in a beautiful place.
In terms of Spider-Man content this year, we do have Kraven the Hunter, a movie that was pushed from last year. That's slated to come out later this summer.
We'll definitely keep an eye out for that, though. Craven the Hunter. And
That's
Aaron
gonna be
Taylor Johnson's in it, right?
yes, he's the one. I loved
Yeah.
the poster that came out for that. He's in like a classic Craven the Hunter pose, very sexy, looks great.
Ooh.
I'm excited about that. And there's so much Spider-Man stuff these days. Before we wrap up, do you have a favorite Spider-Man, Mitch?
Ooh, I mean, yes, I think I do. It specifically is the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man from the second one, where he's Venom
Ooh.
Spidey, and
Mm.
Tobey gets really cool and angsty in the real life.
Yes, and he's like
that is
walking
my
different.
Spider-Man. Yes, like I love you, Miles. You're great. I'm rooting for you, kid. But that's my Spider-Man.
Mm.
I love it. The OG Tobey Maguire.
I might have said Miles Morales. I really liked the first Spider-Verse movie. I didn't love the second one as much. He kind of annoyed me. He was being like that angsty teenager, like mean to his parents. I was like over it. But I do like the Tom Holland one. I think he plays the perfect, like, nice teenage boy who doesn't cause that much trouble. Like, I think he finds the good balance of being a little mischievous, but also like a good kid. So I like the Tom Holland one.
Agree. He's funny.
I'm aligned. Tom Holland. He sucked me in. I don't know what I can say. I'm a fan now.
Well, thank you so much, Mitch, for coming on the
Yes,
pod. It was so great having you.
So
Is there
much
anything
fun.
is there anything else you want to add, or just let the people know, like, anything else about you, where they can find you?
You guys can find me on Insta at really that Mitch. This has been so much fun, guys. I have loved coming on. It's been so fun chatting this up with you. I hope we can do this again sometime.
Yes.
This has been just a real blast. Thank you so much for having me.
Yay, of course.
Yeah, you're welcome back anytime. Anytime you invite, all three of us to a premiere, and we can talk
screaming. Laura, you don't live in LA.
We're flying you down for the next one, darling.
Exactly. I'll hop on a plane. Come on.
So funny.
Okay, well, if you enjoyed this episode of Sisters Who Watch reviewing Madam Web, please make sure you give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. 5 stars. And make sure you follow us on all social media platforms at Sisters Who Watch, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, LinkedIn. We're there, so go find us.
Yes, we appreciate y'all so much. We want to hear from you, so you can email us at sisterswhowatch@gmail.com. You can DM us on social media, comment on our posts or Q&As and polls. We're grateful for all of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Stay watching.
Bye.
Bye.
Stay watching.